Outstanding. Well, welcome everybody. We got a few new faces here. Um, the way this all works is we'll have the conversation. If y'all have a question, there should be a little button that says for you raise your hand, or you can put it in the chat window if you just don't want us to speak. However you want to. Yep, he's throwing his hand up right there. Thank you for the demonstration, Chris. I appreciate that.
You got it.
Again, if you got questions, you got to holler at us so that we can stop running off at the mouth and get your questions answered or fit them in as need be. But today we have a topic that we wanted to. I don't want to use the term clarify, but to get out there, and that is support expectations. What we're expected to do as a support team, and then what I don't want to use the term what we expect, but what we ask from you as customers or clients needing our help. That way, everything can be clarified and we can get it out there in the open. So before we,
it's good to hear other customers' ideas of expectations of support, what they've received from Thunder Laser, and what they've received from other companies.
Exactly. That way we can improve if necessary, because there's always room for improvement. Nobody's perfect. I mean, sometimes I think I'm Mary Poppins and practically perfect in every way, but I know I'm not. So we'll go ahead and I'm Tommy, one of the support. We have Chris or CeeLo, the other support. Our other Chris is out on a mission right now, so he will not be able to join us today.
Unless he surprises us.
Yes. So yeah, do we have any questions before we start?
And they could be about anything. They don't have to be about the topic.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, we'll go right along. So as people pop in and out, our first topic on my list, and I'm not going to put up a slideshow today. I got my slide open to remind me of what we're supposed to hit and touch on. So let's talk about work hours. What are our work hours? Go ahead, Chris.
So work hours for us typically, or at least how the email is set up, is around 8 a.m. Eastern time to 5 o'clock Eastern time. While those are our designated hours, you'll often catch us at 6 a.m. in the morning, and usually I have my laptop open while I'm watching TV with the wife till about 11. But the expectations of instant replies and stuff like that typically goes out the window after our hours. We're trying to, spend time with family and stuff like that. But we do know that you're running a business, and sometimes you work a job too, and come home and then have to fulfill orders. So we try our best to make sure that you get back up and running as quickly as possible. Even if it is off hours for us. We do not work on the weekends, but again, like at night, we do monitor quite a bit. Again, there's a bit of a lag in our replies, but obviously with the expectation of we too are taking time off.
And I know for me, inside of one or the other, we'll talk about the specialized training, but when we talk about work hours, we've opened up in the evenings and weekends for a few hours, the ability for the 1 hour training. You pay a small fee to get the added hours of after work, or the after expected hours to conduct your initial 1 hour training. If you want that time slot, it's not for your specialized training, Chris, on photos or anything like that. It is only for the initial 1 hour training setup. For an additional fee, you get special time blocks where
Right.
it's like 6:30 to 8 Monday through Friday, and then I think there's like 3 or 4 hours that are set aside Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, so for most people, our weekly hours don't work, and that's neither our fault or your fault. So we figured we would open a window of possibility for you to pay a little bit more and get us on those off normal working hours. And that's something that we could probably discuss with support as well, because there's a lot of people going to a paid method of support. After 2 years of free support, and then you get, you pay whatever it is a year for extra support or after hour support, one-on-one support. So those are all different things that most companies are looking at. We haven't yet, but as budgets get tight and tariffs kick in and all that stuff, we'll be looking at everything, I'm sure.
Exactly. So again, that kind of works around our hours. We do our best. I know what this morning I was up at 4:30. So after I get my cup of coffee, by 5 o'clock, I'm looking at the tickets. Everybody else has a little bit different, but 8 o'clock is when pretty much it opens up for um, faster replies and whatnot in the morning time. So moving from anybody got questions about our work hours and how it works with us. Outstanding. Methods of support. We rely on, or we work through an email system, and Chris can probably expound a little bit on that. It's not through social media, it's not through chats, but it's an email system.
Yeah, I mean, we do keep an eye on social media, but it's very difficult to watch all of these different groups. There's hundreds of different groups with different lasers, some dedicated to Thunder, some not dedicated. So primarily, it is focused in the ticket system. The first thing that you would do if you had an issue would be email support@thunderlaserusa.com. That starts a ticket, and then all of us on the other side of the computer over here get to see it. We are all seeing the ticket at the same time. You're not emailing one individual. You're emailing the team. So that is Team China. That is Team USA. Off hours, Team China might actually respond to you as well. The reason for not doing phone support and not doing, social media, stuff like that, is that we share a lot of documentation. We share a lot of videos. We share a lot of photos. We need a lot of that stuff from you as well as the end user. If you have a problem with fuzzy engraves, if we see it, we can probably diagnose it within seconds. Being on the phone, listening to you, trying to figure out what exactly it is, it may take even longer. But we also like to keep a track of what's going on in the conversation and your issues, and have a running tally of the conversation. So there's no chances for he said, she said. There's no chances for miscommunication with problems, and we do report this stuff back to China. So if by chance there is a trend of, let's say, power supply failures, we get to tag them in some of these tickets, and there is a history and there is warranty stuff that could be going on at the same time, as well as solving your problem. Did I hit that?
Oh no, yeah, absolutely. And that's I started thinking about some of the other things like you said with the um, let's just pick power supply issues. If we see that trend in, let's say, 60-watt power supplies that are coming in damaged, or you know there's a shipping problem or whatnot, we're able to keep running tally. But if I'm on the phone with somebody and they're telling me it's damaged, I've got to find a way to document that or get into the notes or whatnot, and I may not get word for word or the customer's true perspective on it, versus the reply in the ticket system itself.
I'll tell you what, another thing is keeping track for all of us to see is huge. I can start a conversation and maybe I have to run out, or Chris is on site today doing a fire repair. Maybe he started with somebody, and we don't have any clue if that happened on the phone, but being able to reference back in the communication of the ticket, we can see exactly what was covered. We can pick right back up where the other tech left off and continue to work on your problem.
I know before I started working, it was kind of I didn't realize it at the time, how specifically everything worked. And this has been years ago. I sent in a support ticket and then I get an email from one. And then I get another message from another. I get another, hey, look at this. Hey, look at this. Oh, okay. Okay, I'm talking to everybody now. Now I understand how this works. Everybody can see it. And now being on this side of the fence, I look and go, okay, I know Chris got this ticket. He's in the middle of answering this. I'll wait. And the next thing it comes back in with a different response. He's on another ticket. I can pick right up, reread the last few messages, and reply. And that's what's fantastic. So to making sure people understand that, or the customers understand that it's all three of us plus China plus whomever is able to look at these tickets and see the correspondence back and forth.
Yeah, it's huge, and I know that sometimes there's a desire for wanting the phone call. And sometimes we get to that point where we have to remote in, or we do need to call you, and it's just quicker to solve it that way. But many times, there is a limited amount of us, for one. We do trainings, we do specialized calls. Um, so we're not always available, but we can multitask and answer a ticket while we're doing a training or, you know, on the phone with somebody. So it keeps a flow going. Yeah, it may not seem like the best solution when you want to talk to somebody right away, but we have built this over the years to be 400 different documents, hundreds of different videos, um, and we know the problems. It's very rare that you're going to come at us with a problem we haven't seen. Trust us, we have seen just about everything. And there are telltales, like the scanning offsets, or like a failed power supply. And we know exactly what you need to do to test it and report back to us. And we can be helping other people while you're doing those tests real quick.
Okay, we had a hand up. What you got, sir?
Who had the hand up? Who did it?
I'm going to butcher that name. I'm horrible pronouncing names. Is it Mr. Spicoli? I apologize if I screwed that one up.
I'm just looking for the link to set the appointment up for the modification for the Nova Plus.
Okay. Um, did you start? You probably got an email from Myers, right? I believe.
No, not at this time, or I can recheck, but no.
Okay. Yeah. So Myers is the one handling all of those and setting it up with his availability, making sure that you have the parts. There's a couple things that you have to do prior to him logging on, I believe, and taking care of that. But reach out to support, start a ticket,
Exactly, and then we'll be able to.
and we can actually tag him, and then he'll get all that stuff confirmed with you. Like I said, he's traveling right now, so but I think it takes less than
10
um,
minutes, I think, is
minutes,
what he's been averaging.
yeah, to log on and make those changes.
And
Okay,
Sam,
thank you.
I think we have 100-watt tubes back in stock. Have they arrived yet, Chris? I
I
thought
know
they
they
had
were,
just arrived, or are they here in the country at least?
yeah, they were at port. I don't know if
Okay.
they've made it to Texas yet. Let me silence that.
Any other questions that we got about that? Okay. I think we've beat our methods of support to death on this go around. So, social media. That was our next
So yeah, I guess I'll start with that one. Social media is interesting. It is a world of help, but it can also be a world of hurt. And I don't think there's nothing done
It's
in
not
malice.
intentional.
It's not intentional, but everybody wants to help solve the problem. And you have people that have had their laser for a week trying to answer your questions. There are people that have just received a brand new laser that just came out, let's say the Plus or when the Bolt first came out, asking questions on social media, and they're one of 5 people that have received it. The other 5 people are either an influencer or the tech team. So the best place to obviously ask these questions would be through support. Um, there's a lot of things where social media is by far the best solution, but there's many things where it should be brought directly to the people that know and can get you fixed in the right direction, as opposed to going on a wild goose chase.
And I've told people the same thing. It's you can start looking and going down different rabbit holes and then never come out of that rabbit hole. And the next thing you know, you've got your alignment completely screwed up, and it's 2 weeks getting you back up to speed when
Yeah,
it could have been a 5 minute test or something along those lines.
yeah. I mean,
To
Bob said to check this, and then Mary said check that, and next thing you know, you've messed up more stuff than actually was wrong. Lois is shaking her head. She's been there.
um, so this one definitely is all you. I know I handle some of the 1 hour trainings. I'll handle the nights and the weekend stuff. But specialized training is specifically for is your baby to handle.
Yeah.
One day I'll
Specialized.
get there.
Yeah, specialized training is fun. It comes down to you have very specific needs, like print and cut, like photos, or if you just want to kill an hour and talk to me, you can pay to do that as well. But no, I mean, when it comes down to the nitty gritty, fine tuning processes, that's where the specialized training comes in. You're paying, I think it's $100 for my time to go through whatever topics you want to cover. You can have a list, and we'll cover as much of it as we can. The same thing with on-site training. Like I've had people come here for the 4 hour window or the 8 hour window, but I typically recommend you come for 4 hours, but you do it in 2 days. You spend some time learning, you go home, sleep on it, and then you come back in with a whole bunch of questions. And that's really where the specialized training comes in. You you know enough about your machine to run it. Now I want to dig in deep, and I'll cover whatever you guys want to cover on some of that stuff.
Yeah, and that's we kind of when you look at specialized training and then we talk about on-site training. Your on-site trainings are with you here at not with Chris Myers or in Quitman at the home office. So you have those opportunities. It's figuring out where you want to go for what specific training. If it's general light burn or things like that, and I just use me for an example or use us for an example, I should say. I'm not giving you bolt anything specific to the bolt because I don't have one.
Right.
But if you want to work the UV, you want to work the fiber, and you're in this area, then you sign up for it and do all that. Where you've got very different machines than we do, and so forth and so on. So that all plays into a factor of what you're wanting to learn and what machine you're wanting to learn.
Yeah, and people that want to come here and do training, I have almost every machine. Um, I have every source type, which is a benefit. So
Mm-hmm.
it's very easy to spend the time that you want on these things.
I just don't have the room, or we don't have the room for every machine or every source type.
It gets cumbersome. I have more room though.
You know,
Yeah, your shop's a wee bit bigger.
so you know, we talk kind of about on-site training. You know, on-site services. We do have the ability to travel to come fix a machine or do the training at your location. Um, you know, however, there's always that incurred cost. You're talking about travel, hotels, uh, the hourly rate, the whole 9 yards gets encompassed into that. So when you see that, it's kind of a, I don't want to say sticker shock, but when you wind up with, you know, an estimate of a couple $1,000s to get something fixed, when, you know, with our articles and using the ticket system, hopefully we can get you back and fixed it. You fixing it yourself is probably one of our biggest goals. That way, you as an end user understand how it works and how you can make the modifications or make the repairs yourself without truly involving one of us being on ground. That about sum up the on-site services?
Yeah, yeah. On-site services, it's just expensive. You know, you got to figure somebody's got to travel to you. So whether it's driving, you know, regionally, I've gone and done many on-sites in Florida. So whether it be a 2-3 hour drive, uh, you know, that's far less expensive than Chris Myers just had to fly from Tennessee to Pennsylvania. I mean, it gets costly. He has to stay in a hotel, and the customer, you know, has to foot that bill. Um, but it is available. You know, there's people that just do not want to touch their machine. They don't feel comfortable with the electronics. They don't feel comfortable messing around with things, alignments and stuff like that. So they're happy to fly us out there and do it.
Exactly. Uh, so and you know, and that turns into we see a lot of, especially on social media, we see a lot of machines, used machines being sold or resold. Um,
Yes.
and then you know, with our expectations of the warranty transfer and support transfer, yes, if you purchase a used machine and you want to continue with the warranty and or the support for us, it's an additional fee. Um, and then that's gotten a little iffy here lately. Um, we will still provide you some support, but it is going to be very limited if you do not transfer the support or the warranty for your used laser. Chris, more to follow?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously as a corporation or as any business, there's amount of support that goes in with the initial purchase, and it's all factored in. Um, with a used machine, you're getting a brand new user with all of those new support features all over again. Um, so yes, there is some recouping of costs there, and there's also a benefit to the customer. You get a training, so you get your 1 hour training included in the transfer, and you get lifetime support all over again. There's lots of times when you buy a used laser, it doesn't come with everything. We're going to do the legwork on the back end of things to make sure that we find your offsets or get you the files you need to make it like a new purchase. And there's a benefit to that cost, we believe. And if I was a customer, I would think so too. It'd be worth my while to pay for it. Buying an unknown condition machine, you know, I looked it over, but does it perform? Do I have everything? We'll make sure that you do.
Exactly. So I'm going to pause for a second on my list here, and I'll ask the group. We've got, you know, some new people here. We've got some returning people here. You know, I'd love to hear what you have to say, even if it's in a chat. Feel free and type it in, and I'll repeat it. But if you have expectations, or you think you have expectations of us, as being the end user or the client, please pipe up, let us know. We like to hear different perspectives. It's something that maybe we can alter or grow from the experience. So as you can see, while we're doing this, I take it upon myself. I stop answering tickets so I can pay attention and really drive the webinar. And then we got, Chris, and usually both Chris's at the time are probably still answering tickets while we're conducting this. So if we stop for a phone call, one of us wouldn't be able to attend or, continue doing what we're doing. So, this is living proof of why we use the ticket system as a method of support.
Yeah, I'm currently answering tickets, but
I can't do two things at once, so I gotta concentrate on this.
It's not easy. There's definitely some separation there, but I try really hard.
My ADHD will get the best of me, and Lord only knows I'll start talking about frogs and squirrels. I don't know. So again, like I said, if you have any concerns or questions, please let us know, and we'll take the crickets as no questions.
I do have a comment.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I like the idea of the on-site support. We only have one laser at this point, but down the road, if we had more, it might be nice. Once a year, once every 2 years, have a technician come out and do belt adjustments or alignments and all that kind of maintenance stuff that just doesn't interest us. We want to use it as a tool, not necessarily manage the tool. The routine type stuff is fine, but getting into the weeds, it'd be nice to have an expert to be able to come out and do that. Hire a technician for a day to come out and do what needs to be done.
And that's something that we've been considering for a while, but it takes a lot to build up the manpower on the ground in areas, ones that we can trust, because obviously we have more than likely they can't be employees, right? There's only so much money to go around, but they would have to be either users that we can verify and make sure are legitimate, that you don't mind having in your house, or if we don't mind having in our house. So, that is something that we thought about. How do we bring these people on, in certain regions so that they can facilitate these tune-ups? And we actually ran that for a while where Chris or I would, in our region, and there wasn't a lot of people that wanted it, which was odd to me. I think I had the most just because there's so many lasers in Florida for some reason. But yeah, it is something that's on the list, and we keep on revisiting. It's getting the boots on the ground to make that happen in a way that's valuable and affordable to the customer, and yet still makes Thunder money.
It's got to be priced so that you guys are whole and make your money. But if that is an option down the road, I find something like that worthwhile.
Yeah, it is. And actually, I don't know if you all know Chance, the crazy hat guy on TikTok, who's he's viral, and he's got 3 machines, and he wants one of us to come up there and do a full maintenance on all the machines. It makes a lot of sense for him to have one of us come up, and obviously, with the revenue stream that he's producing, it makes sense for him to pay for it. But we're all about, if you check out the prices of a Thunder machine compared to what I would say would be an equal counterpart, which is an Epilog or Trotec, we're much lower. So we are all about high quality machines for a reasonable price. The service would also have to fit that mold for us to be able to offer it all the time like we want to.
Tommy and
Pricing
Chris.
is always a dance.
Tommy and Chris. Yeah, I was able to work out with Chris Myers when he was. I didn't have to have something done today, but I let him come when he was available or in the area. And if somebody can get on maybe your schedule to, if you're going to be in a certain area to catch two or three people, it cuts the cost of bringing somebody in. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
It
yeah. It,
absolutely does, Danny.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like there's times like I was gone for a month where I was RVing and I was going all up through the Carolinas and Georgia and um, all over. And if I asked permission from the wife, I might have been able to stop at some of these places and get some stuff done. So yeah, when it's convenient, um, but that means an open line of communication and kind of asking. So we would have to create some way to start that conversation with customers as well.
And for us, we just, what was it, a couple weeks ago, we went back to my home or our home in Virginia. And I'm not, 20 years in the Army, we were always taught you never put where you're going on social media or what you're doing on social media. You don't put that out. So I go, I disappear, I come back, and it's hard for me to throw out, hey, I'm going to be in the Virginia area or the Richmond area or wherever, or driving through this area, with all of everything that I've been through, to throw that out to give people that, oh, somebody's coming through. Maybe I can get this at a little bit better of a discount, or I don't have to pay so much in travel expenses or whatnot to get the services. Um, so yeah, it's starting that conversation of how we start it without causing people like me grief and anxiety.
What's next on that topic? Was anything?
There was a couple things that I had in my head and then it disappeared because I did not write them down while I was doing this. Um, I can say, and I guess as we roll through this and we get to this point of what we see as expectations from us, we have somebody asking, or the end users or the customers perspective. We can just start discussing what we expect of the clients. When you have a problem, um, how you're doing the tickets or what you're telling us. Um, So you have anything on that one, Chris? What we're expecting in a ticket?
I mean,
My laser stopped working is one we can work through, but can you give us a
uh,
little more?
yeah. I mean, starting off a ticket with help usually doesn't help solve the problem. So, for me, at least, a brief description and photos of your result. If there is one, if you're having weird cuts, if you're having weird engravings, photos help me tremendously. I can usually pick out the problem just by seeing it. Um, you know, what machine do you have? So many times people will message in with their issue. No machine. It could be a fiber laser. It could be a Bolt. It could be a Nova. We have no clue, and we have to approach each one of those differently. So, better than telling us what machine, a photo of your serial plaque would be very beneficial. Um, but a couple of threads of emails back and forth usually get us to the right answers. But in the sake of time, I like having you fixed as quick as possible. So the more information you give me, and I don't mean a paragraph, I just mean a photo, uh, a very focused. This is the issues that I'm having. Um, Helps me a ton. What about you? Since you're kind of new on that end, what helps you solve the customer's problem quicker?
So I can honestly say for me, what you just said, a brief description of what's going on, help. Again, we just use that one as an example. It gets a little bit, okay, well, what's the problem? or my machine just stopped cutting, or it's not moving, or it's not doing what it's supposed to do.
That's
That is
actually a good.
very difficult to, and we just ran in this one today, and or the conversations about it today of, I may translate the laser's not moving or not doing what it's supposed to do as, okay, is it moving? Is it not cutting? Is it not engraving? Is it not? I want detail. I want as much detail as possible.
You can
What you
can
got, Chris?
say my laser has no power. Well, I mean that can translate to it won't turn on. I have no lights. It's not engraving. It's not moving. So specifics help us solve the problem quicker. And I get it. That's probably where the translation of text and voice would probably help some things, but we are trying to do our best with limited resources, unfortunately.
And I can say for me personally, the only thing I ever ask is just honesty. If you're sitting in a support ticket going, my laser's not cutting all the way through the material, and it takes me 10 minutes of emailing back and forth to find out you had a head crash, just be honest about it. It happens. It's okay. Hey, I hit my head and now it's not working. Instant. We know exactly what to do to get you on the right path. But if I have to pull out that information, or I'm never even told that, I need help aligning my laser, that there was a head crash, then we're shooting in the dark here, until we identify what caused the problem. I guess that's just more the way my brain works. I wish I was a mind reader. I really do.
That would solve a lot of problems in all aspects of
No, you don't. You don't want to know what's on my mind.
That's true.
Right, Lois?
Like she knows, I guess, huh?
So yeah, I mean, really, when it comes down to what I hope from a client or from a support ticket is just as much detail as possible. If you tried something, you know, um, which article you read, not just, I read all the articles. Well, there's like 500 of them. So help me out with which one you read, so that I know if there's a second one that needs to go along with it, or we missed something. Um, and that's about it. So.
And that should be it, right? Open it up for questions.
Yeah, I mean, now it's on everybody in here. If you've got a question, or one of the questions on Facebook about this was talking about tariffs, and we have no clue right now. So I can't exactly, have a intelligent conversation on that topic.
I like to start my tech support questions off with a direct quote from, yeah, now I just forgot. Hold on.
Old age
Hold
will
on.
do that to you,
Hold
son.
on. Hold on. Yeah, I know. It's getting worse. A direct quote from, Pink Floyd. Is there anybody out there?
Right.
Pretty much. Well, I can always, ask Jason. Jason, from your aspect of Apple Air and Rotoboss support.
Yeah, I mean, what? Don't make me have to tell you how to do a cup. Come on. I mean, yeah, you pretty much hit the nail on the head. I mean, the more information we have to help troubleshoot, the better. Whether I'm helping with rotary stuff or laser stuff or whatever, it's a lot easier to have the most information as possible, be as clear as possible, and like you said, be honest, be upfront. It's going to save a lot of time and headache if you get that information out, whether you mess it up or not. I mean, that's irrelevant, because the goal of any of us is to help you get the machine up and running. So, but I mean, other than that, I mean, that's, you guys pretty much hit it on the head. I just wanted to reiterate on that.
All right.
Outstanding. Thank you. So, any other questions we got out there?
And
And
it doesn't
now, like I said, it doesn't have to be on this. It can be on anything. I love the crickets. Well, any other topics?
I think George asked the question in the chat. Any word on the new Nova Plus that is over 80 watts? No,
Where the hell do you see that at?
it's in the
He made
chat.
it up.
Not mine.
Maybe it was direct to me.
Could be.
So anyway, he asked if there's any word on the Nova Plus that is over an 80 watt mark. Nope. The new Titan that's going to be coming out, that you may have seen it on either China's website or it talked about briefly. I think Clay and Grant did a quick, they did an hour-long live the other day, and they mentioned it. But that will be coming out with something in the range of 80 to 120.
Won't that be at ISA with us?
No. It'll be at Ignite.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the original plan was, but I think they were working out some dual source things.
That's right. If anybody's not aware, in the beginning of August, we have the Ignite in Quitman. So you'll have all of us there and some additional speakers. Should be an interesting learning environment.
It will be, and you'll be around. Not only will you learn from the people that are on stage giving presentations, but you'll also learn from the people that you're with. It's interesting how other people in their businesses and working with the lasers, how they attack problems and how they do jobs differently than you. And sometimes it's things you've never even thought of doing. There's a lot of aha moments at these events, and a lot of camaraderie and friendship building, and a little bit of drinking.
Just a little bit.
Wee bit.
If it's only a little bit, I'm not going.
Oh, well.
Might be some arm wrestling too.
Maybe.
Need a rematch.
Arm wrestling.
We can save that for LBX.
There you go. Can't do it with my left hand though, so you're out on that one.
I can't do it with my right, so.
Children, I love it.
All right.
Again, where this is all pretty much open for anybody else. I mean, I really don't like to hear myself talk.
Second that.
Anybody here going to ISA?
I think it's just you and Jason.
Are you going to be? You're at our booth this time, or hanging out with us?
Yeah, like always. Be there Monday evening.
That's usually a great event. It's amazing the amount of money in machines that are there. You've got $1 million plus printers. You've got
people going to like APA and all these other smaller events. Like ISA would just blow your mind. The kind of equipment and stuff that they have there. So make sure you got your pocketbook locked up.
Yeah, right.
It's easy to see the money fly out of it when you go to these shows.
So one of the reasons why I wanted to do this topic is because I really did want to hear from users what their expectations of support are. There's always room for improvement on our side. While we feel like we have dialed in our methods, there's ways that we can be better, of course. So if anybody wants to pipe up and discuss, I'm all ears.
Oh, so am I.
So,
Go ahead, Jason.
no, I was gonna say one thing that comes up to me a lot, and I know, and I can speak from the experience of this too, but wondering why there's not more phone support. And I think you kind of touched on that a little bit earlier. Obviously working with lesser resources than you'd like at some points, but I think that's the biggest topic. I don't know if you have an explanation on that, a better explanation for that, or is that something that may be possibly in the works or for people?
We covered it, and
Oh, okay.
yeah, we covered it. But I mean, what it comes down to is that we keep we share a lot of digital information for articles and stuff. Like you can imagine having to sit on the phone and trying to help somebody align their laser. Um, it's something that they need to be focused on and not listening to us. And do you really grasp the movements that you're making and the concept if you're not doing it yourself? But we keep track of warranty stuff that has to go back to China, go back to tube manufacturers and part manufacturers. All of that stuff needs to be documented and kept internally for us as well. And we have techs that share in the conversation. So everybody is part of this conversation. So there's a whole long list of why we don't do a lot of phone support, and most companies are moving away from that. I think Trotec is now charging for support, and it's primarily phone support, or sorry, email support.
I know from, and I use an experience today. There was a issue, and I saw the issue in one light, and then on the back end of our system, the three of us are able to communicate. So it was, in between us, it was a comment made, and I'm like, oh, now I understand what they're asking, or now I get, because I've never seen one of the problems. I'd never even heard of the problem, but Chris had seen it, and Chris had recreated it before, so he instantly knew what the customer was talking about, and he was able to pipe right into um, the ticket system, and hey, look at this. This is possibly a cause of the problem, and I'm just trying to grasp what they were asking because of the way they were asking.
Yeah, and it gives us the ability to do after hours and convenience of our family time and all that stuff. It does give us the ability to check the tickets, answer, always reply whenever we have a free moment, and continue to get your solution worked on. I'm working on a rotary issue right now for you, Jason.
That's awfully nice of you.
Today's been a busy day.
Yeah, and you take today for an example. We got one tech out on on a job making repairs. I had a 1 hour training today, so Chris was by himself answering whatever tickets were coming in during that time period. Right now this hour, I'm not looking at the ticket system because I'm monitoring this, and it's all you answering and trying to do this at the same time.
I definitely would not have been able to help somebody over the phone and answer multiple tickets. I believe I have, let's see, today. Yeah, so just us alone, just me. Yeah, so I'm approaching 60 replies today, and there's no way I would have been able to do that talking to somebody for 15, 20 minutes on the phone. Yeah, it just would not be the efficiency that we've been able to pull off with the articles and videos and stuff like that. There's something to be said with our response times and resolution times for the most part. There's some that take longer. Um, there's some issues where it takes a couple days to figure out what's really going on. But for the most part, you know, two email exchanges, I think that the majority of my tickets today were solved.
I love the email system method. I can always go back and take a look to see what was said versus a phone call, where it's kind of like driving directions. I'm lost after the first turn. Someone tells me something.
Right.
Email, I can go back and understand again what I was told.
Yeah, and this is not really a big issue in this industry, but I know I have a landscape company, and I stopped taking phone calls and I push everybody to do email. One, because I'm getting older, I forget a lot of stuff. Kind of is along the same lines you just mentioned, but legalities and expectation levels of what people think I said, or because they're dealing with crews, they're dealing with maybe a sales guy that set them up with service. So you know who told who to do what and what did we promise. That comes into play with a lot of other industries. There's not a on support side. There's not really a big deal about that, but on my side with a service industry like that, we need to make sure that the customer gets what they want. They're not trying to pull a fast one over on the crews, saying, oh, well, he said he would do this, this, and this for free. That's not how we work. So having that backup of a line of communication, printable, screenshotable to show people is important, I think.
Yeah, and then the knowledge base stuff is great too. I've gone through a lot of different knowledge base articles. The only suggestion I'd like to see is maybe some type of version control or identifier of, if something's been superseded. I don't know if, maybe once it's out there, it never has to change ever. But, does any of the articles ever get culled or updated? And if they do, if I downloaded something, how do I know what's new without comparing word for word through an article?
I can tell you that articles get updated and shifted and modified almost every day. And it's most of it, a lot of it's just cleaning things up and making it a little bit prettier, or going back through and trying to catch, potential grammatical errors. But I think our programs had new accessories or new tabs and cool things that we can add to them. So for the most part, what Myers has been trying to get in there and clean up the articles and make them a little bit more user friendly.
Yeah, specific to models and years and stuff like that. It takes a lot of back end keywords, stuff like that, and unfortunately, I don't think it was written in the very beginning with the thought of being that organized. I know I went in there to do a complete reorganization, and the tree structure did not work how you would think it would work. And I think I messed up all of the tree structure. So we had to go back in and change it all. But now we're starting to do slight modifications, because you have to remember that these are all web hosted. So once you start changing a lot of things, it breaks links, unfortunately. So we have to watch where we're changing the descriptors, and how we are labeling them in that tree structure, so we don't mess up the hierarchy of the knowledge base itself. But we are trying. We are well aware, because Chris and I are pretty anal retentive when it comes to finding this information quickly, and how it looks on the user side, that it shows up quickly. Obviously, the more back end stuff that we do between the articles, the videos, making it all easy for you to find, the easier our job is to support you. So yeah, we get that part too.
and for that aspect, I don't do a lot with it. I'm more of the grammar guy, making sure that there's a comma where there needs to be a comma. But I need to still get in there and start looking at some of the keywords for the searches,
Yeah.
because the way my brain works is different than the way Lois's brain works. She's amazing at Google. I suck at searching the internet, and she makes fun of me all the time for it. So I suck at searching in the knowledge base, or I think it should be called something, and it's not. So that's where I look at it, is from that perspective of I have difficulty with the searches. So what keywords or what tags do we need to throw in there to help people that are like me? Sounds horrible on my end. I really am relatively intelligent. I just talk funny.
Hey, but looks aren't everything. Oh wait, you said talks, buddy.
Ah. Hey, we're doing good. I didn't have her put braids in my beard today.
Not yet.
Well, we're rounding the 5-minute mark, so happy to entertain any other questions, any other topics.
And thank you, Danny. Yes, there is definitely the dynamic, and that just a comment that Danny asked. Thank goodness for the difference, or the comment he posted. Yes, you got the three of us that work together. I work more on a part-time basis, helping out, doing trainings and tickets and everything. Not quite as full-time as they are, but the dynamic between the three of us, I personally think is fantastic. We have the ability to play off of each other's weaknesses and strengths. Chris is a whiz with the electrical stuff, or Myers, I should say. His knowledge of the wiring, the systems, the schematics is top notch and amazing. Has a tendency to talk over my head a lot.
Yes.
And then
Yeah, he is our resident engineer.
yes, and we give him a lot of love for being our resident engineer. And Chris CeeLo, your knowledge is fantastic, and sometimes both of us look at something going, I don't understand this. Just, and that's where Chris can pipe up with some of the other things, or I see it from a different perspective than they do. So I think it all works very well together. At least in my mind, it works all well together.
And
We're
yes,
not
if we could just
killing each
get
other every day.
Myers on Team Mac, we would be good to go.
We need somebody to deal with Windows, because I know I don't want to.
Oh my gosh,
either.
it was awful yesterday, and I had to get on a Mac and try and or on a Windows computer, and I was like, this is terrible.
Yeah, it is just, man, I don't look back and say, man, I miss Windows.
No, nothing.
Not at all. Not at all. But yeah, as we wind this up, hey, thanks everybody for being here. I know from my aspect, I truly appreciate y'all taking the time, listening to us. Hopefully you gain some knowledge, because that's the point behind all this, is to share the knowledge and try to get some of this stuff out to the public to the best of our ability. I promise you, like I said, it is not to hear me talk. I did enough of that in the Army. I did enough of that standing up in front of people and teaching. So, but again, if you got other questions, we got a couple minutes left before I hit the record button and stop recording. At least I remembered it this time.
Don't forget that if you are watching this, it is recorded on YouTube. So if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe to make it easier to find. That way it's already there. You don't have to go searching for things.
That was a subtle plug.
Just trying to help people out.
and I will go ahead. It is 5 o'clock. I will hit the record button.